So I was at work today on my break, and I was listening to some music in the break room. I often don't really like to talk to anybody, mainly just because I'm an introvert and, you know, I'd rather just listen to music or like look at my phone. And every now and then I'll notice it, but it like really hit me today because there were so many people in the break room at this time. So I look up from my phone and there's like 7 other people in the break room as well, and everyone else is on their phone. And so it made me just kind of think of like this, no one's really talking to each other. And I don't think there's necessarily a problem with that. I've seen it that it tends to be the older folk who are wanting to socialize, but like everyone that was in here was either like a teenager to maybe they're like mid 30s. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that like everyone in this room could be talking to each other, but instead we're all just would rather kind of be like in our own space. What are your thoughts?
Do you think that phones are turning people into introverts?
I don't know, because in a sense they could be socializing by like texting their friends,
Which they most likely are, or scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
yeah.
So, or on Snapchat, which is huge amongst younger people.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
use it anymore, but
I mean, it was, I worked at Chipotle with 18, well, I would say 17 to 19-year-old kids, and they all strictly communicated via Snapchat. Like, I mean, like 100%. Like, we text each other, right?
yeah,
When we want to get a hold of each other, we text each other. But they Snapchat. And that to me is a weird... I know it's still communicating, right? I know that Snapchat is still... But there's something about the app and the platform specifically. It's almost like it's secret communication. Or communication that you want to be kept private.
I mean the same could be said for like a text message though.
Well, but that...
Well, I mean you can screenshot
somebody
a
could
text message.
easily get in your... Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, the whole idea behind Snapchat is
It goes
the
away.
conversations go away.
Yeah,
And, unless you save them, which to me seems exhausting.
I mean you're just eating up storage, but
But,
even then,
I mean,
you can only save it to a certain point, can't you?
I don't know.
So I remember I was talking to somebody and like I had forgot what I sent them, and then they're like, "Oh, I'll just put this setting enabled," which I didn't know existed, where like we'll save the conversation up to like a day, and then it'll clear out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't use Snapchat.
Yeah, I haven't used it like seriously in a long time, but
Yeah, it's funny to me that there are like different forms of communication, but
Yeah.
then you're right, the older people want to talk.
yeah,
I mean, if you were in... I mean, I don't know, it depends, because my parents are 44, and when we go out and we're like, at the dinner table, neither one of us touched our phones until after dinner, after we'd been sitting there for like 3 hours.
but that's I feel different because like you're with your family,
Right.
So it's like you
But if
want to talk to.
Let's
them.
say you were in like... Well, okay, I guess I'm not usually in situations where I'm around strangers.
Yeah.
But given like the difference in how often you see people at work,
Yeah,
like I know that when I worked at the bank, there was probably 8 people that worked there, and we all tried to take our breaks and lunches like individually,
that makes sense.
because you're with these people in such a close vicinity all day that it's like I would rather get a break from these people. But for some place as big as Fred Meyer, I mean, most people, if they have friends amongst work, they talk amongst them, I imagine.
The people that I'm friends with at work, I like work with them in my department.
Right, so you're never on lunch at the same time.
No.
Right. So if that person was in the room, then you would feel more inclined to communicate with at least that person, right?
Probably.
And then any person that knew that person would come up to that person and talk.
Yeah.
Because then you would be inclined to talk to them because they're in the conversation and you don't want to sit there awkwardly like a turtle.
That's who I am.
Right.
So what do you think though? I mean, like, do you think it's like a bad thing or?
I don't believe that it's either good or bad. I think it is a thing, and I think that there will be negative effects, just like there are negative effects to, or I guess adverse effects to certain people.
Sure.
For me, if I was working in a place like that and nobody wanted to talk to me, like let's say I was new, right? Nobody wanted to talk to me. No one. I would feel like, I'd be like, dang, this kind of sucks.
Really?
Yeah. because I like the communication to pass the time, and I enjoy communication just in general.
But even like on a break though, or like your lunch.
Well, yeah, I mean it depends.
Because this is where it's happening.
Yeah, and you're not new.
No.
I put myself in a position of like me being new. Yeah, I mean on my break sometimes I want to be just left alone. But if I want to be left alone, I go to my car. My problem is when people put themselves in social situations and then don't socialize.
But I mean, like being in a break room, like it's optional.
It's optional.
Yeah.
I guess my issue really lies with people who have a problem with social. Like if I were to like, if you didn't have your headphones in, right? And you were just sitting there on your phone and then you like happen to, we just happen to strike up conversation. Are you the type of person that like gets upset about those kind of things?
No, if
like
someone,
annoyed by conversation.
If someone says hi to me, I'll say hi back.
Right.
If I get a feel of like where is this conversation kind of going, or like is this like something I'm interested in, I'll like kind of ease out of there.
My thing is the standoffishness when they don't make it obvious that they don't want to be talked to.
No, I'm never rude.
Right. I guess for me, if I have both my headphones in, don't try and talk to me. Like that's like my thing.
Yeah.
If I'm at the gym, right, both my headphones in, unless someone needs something from me, don't try and talk to me.
Yeah, I thought it was like not Black Mirror because it's like Black Mirror.
Honestly, you said that when you first said like a room, everybody was on their phones. I immediately thought Nosedive.
Which one's that one?
The one with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Is that season 5?
No, it's season 4, the first episode. She's on her phone with the social media, and it drops in points. And then she's like, she can't like rent a car.
Yeah.
And then she can't, then she goes to her best friend's wedding and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Well, quotation mark best friend.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from with that.
That was like my immediate first thought because that's where we're developing. I mean, everybody is getting to the point where you go out. How many phones can you count in every place that you go?
I think with me, what I find interesting is like I have a decent habit of like looking up. Like I'm not permanently glued. Like I always like try and like take a look at my surroundings, or like if I'm just listening to music, I'll either be on my phone glancing up, or I'll just kind of be looking around the room. But like I kind of like people watch sometimes, and like they don't look up for like a good like 5 minutes,
a while,
and it's like, whoa.
Have you seen the people that like do it while they walk?
That's
they don't like look up.
It's dangerous.
They're glued to their phone and they don't even take a second to see where they're going.
Yeah,
it happened in Japan all the time. People just walk forward, and you're like, "Oh, I guess I'll get out of your way."
Yeah, but it's also routine for them because it's like you assume that's their day to day and they know where they're going.
Well, right. Even here though, I mean, I could walk around this neighborhood pretty much with my eyes closed. The surrounding area, pretty much with my eyes closed, because I lived here for so long. But even then, I wouldn't do it if I could choose not to.
Yeah.
Like if I'm walking out in the open, I want to see if I'm going to trip over something. I want to see if I'm going to run into something. I'm going to see if I'm going the right direction. I'm going to...
Yeah, it was just
It's a weird thought process. I sometimes get wrapped up in the difference in people.
Yeah.
Like how truly different people are. Even you and I, we have very similar views on certain things. The way that we both went to high school together, graduated together, so we're both relatively the same age, somewhat similar upbringings in the same area for long periods of time, but yet we are so different. I think it's cool.
Yeah. The thing that, like, I guess makes me think about the whole phone thing is I remember one day, I think I was on my phone just looking at memes or whatever, and someone that was like, I don't know, maybe like in their 40s was like, man, doesn't anyone talk to each other anymore? As a joke, but like was kind of serious. Yeah, I thought about it too. I'm like, I mean, why aren't we all talking to each other? But at the same time, I don't feel like I'm losing out on anything. Like, what am I really going to gain out of like a small talk conversation that lasts like, couple minutes?
Well, you never know. I mean, I have small-ish talk conversations with people on a day-to-day basis, and I have learned so many things. Random spots to get good food, good places to go for, like,
Yeah,
I guess there's so, like, it depends on the type of conversation that you have. If it's surface level, like, hey, how are you doing? How's your day going?
Yeah.
You can find out a lot by that conversation.
Yeah. I also feel that, I mean, I guess like genuine reach of like trying to get to someone, like you would feel it versus just like, hey, how's it going, without really the sincerity behind it, you know?
Well, it's funny that you say that. My dad always told me, don't ask somebody how they're doing unless you're really ready to hear how they're doing. So for me, given any customer service situation that I've ever been in, but especially at the bank, you would have, transactions with these people, and sometimes bank transactions would last 2 and 3 hours. I mean, I would get a customer that would start in the morning, and then she wouldn't leave until 10:30.
Jeez.
Because, the complexity of her bank transactions was such that you had to spend time. And I always kept that in the back of my head every time I'd be like, I would welcome them up to the counter. And then especially if I knew them by name, I would use their name and then be like, hey, how's your day going? Was always my opener, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And some people would be like, fine, thanks. Other people would be like, it's all right, whatever. How about you? And then there are those people that are like,
let me tell you.
Let me tell you. And then they go on and 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 on. And I've always kept it in the back of my mind that, I did ask this person how they're doing. I can't complain that they're telling me how they're doing.
Yeah.
I welcome this on. If I want to respond, that's up to me. And I'm the type of person that, especially if I agree with the person or whatever, I'm going to respond. But if it's something way awkward, I'm just like,
okay,
that's nice. Yeah, okay. Or, the worst is when someone says that someone recently died. That's the worst.
That's a heavy conversation.
That's the one thing. That was the one good thing that Dutch Bros taught me when I worked there, was customer service. Because you could go to the extreme and be the Dutch Bros guy.
That's like climbing in your window.
Yeah. Or you could, take that at a moderated level and just use the base foundation with your own personality. So that's how I would train like salespeople when I worked at the bank. Was that you take, the idea that you're going to, listen to the person when they're talking, look them in the eyes, show them respect, those kind of things. But then you actually want to hear what they're saying. Because at Dutch Bros, they told about a story about this guy that was working at Dutch Bros. He was busy doing what he was doing. This lady walked up and he said, hey, how's your day going? She's like, not too good. I just buried my son. And he goes, oh, that's awesome.
Oh.
And like she was like, excuse me? And it didn't register at first. And then
he was just so
just so into the thing.
Yeah.
Just going about his day. He asked her the question, didn't hear her response and just had a generic answer back. She was like, oh, I just buried my son. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. Like, that's horrible. And so ever since I heard that, it mortified me. I was like, I'm never going to, if I ask someone how they're doing, I'm not going to just give them a, generic answer back.
What ended up happening with that?
She like complained and he like, had to, I think he lost his job or something. And
yikes.
Then they hired him back to like do training. He like had this moment of like, oh my gosh, I really, blah, I don't know. It was they turned it around somehow, but the core foundation was something I never forgot.
Well, I mean, he just wasn't listening.
Yeah, he just wasn't listening. Wow. And that's one of the main things, if someone's going to, like, especially in any type of service industry, when someone said, I need this, you need to be able to be like, I'm sorry, what was that? You don't want to, oh, I didn't catch that. I'm so sorry. What was that? Those kind of things. It instills, whether it's subconscious or, present, it instills a type of confidence or lack of confidence in the person that's providing you the service.
Yeah, someone last week told me their dog died.
And that's horrible, right?
Like, they're like, oh, we need to print out pictures because we just put our dog down. And I was like, wow.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, because you feel for that person and you're able to be empathetic for that person. You're not going to respond with like, oh, that sucks.
Sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck. And it's like, don't be a jerk, man.
Yeah.
Be nice. You're empathetic for that person. That's another big kind of customer service thing.
I also have dogs, so.
Yeah, that's what empathy would be. You feel for that person.
Yeah. And one's very old and might be,
Well,
I don't like to talk about it, but it's realistic.
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah. But he's hanging in there.
Yeah.
He's doing all right.
Yeah. You got people around you.
Yeah. And so
Because it's going to be, I mean, when you've had a dog in your life for how long?
since 2003.
Yeah, most of your life.
He's my little guy.
He's your little guy. I mean, even when I had Bear for the 6 to 8 months that I had Bear, I got attached to the little guy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give him up.
The hard thing is because the little one is so attached to the older one.
Oh,
And
no.
it's like, man, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
I know what I'm going to do.
I'm worried about you, mans.
Yeah.
Is that the little one?
Yeah, it's little Stitch.
Wow.
Who has some problems, but
He has a fondness.
yeah. Yeah, so the phone thing and just kind of like lack of socializing made me think of this thing that happened the other week. I went to the bar with some friends and they brought to me a great question, and like I kind of thought about this differently because I'm in a different space than they are, but basically they were wondering like, how do you meet people and make friends in this day and age? And to me, because like I feel comfortable with the amount of friends I have and I'm not currently looking for new connections, it took me a while to kind of think about what kind of like recommendations to give someone like that.
Well, when you say meet people and then make friends, do you mean meet people as like dating and then make friends along the way? Or are you like a new person here? I think it's like a case by case scenario.
These people in particular were looking just to make and meet new friends. Because
Yeah,
one
it's
of them
hard.
was already in a relationship, and so they're just looking to, I don't know, I guess spend more time with different people.
See, it's hard to like come from that frame of reference because, like you said, I'm cool with my friend group. Like
Yeah.
I'm not interested in making new friends.
Yeah.
And if I meet a new friend and make a new friend along the way, then it's organic and it's whatever. But if I had no friends, I wouldn't know where to start. I mean, I guess maybe start to look at places that you go frequently.
Right. So what I ended up telling them was like finding and going to places that, I don't know, like if you're into like crafts and stuff, I don't know, maybe take like a pottery class. Not like enroll in school, but like they do offer classes like that are just locally taught and you can go and meet people there.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, for me, it would be I go to church frequently. And then I would also look at like, I mean, I guess you could start to meet new people at frequent places if you like study and go to Starbucks,
Yeah.
to go to the gym, right? Like if I had no friends and I saw the same person at the gym several times and we crossed paths or whatever and it was like, hey man, how's it going?
Yeah. You might say hello.
Yeah, you might say hello or whatever, or neighbors, people that you see frequently that you have some form of a connection with. Because then at that point, then you lean on that connection to establish that initial like communication and then see if it happens. Making friends it's not that hard, but it's also difficult.
Well, something that I've seen pop up, regularly on feeds is like, how do you make friends? Like outside of like meeting someone in school or something, like where do you go to meet friends? And something like back when I was using Tinder and stuff, like something some girls would have in their bios is like, honestly, like where am I supposed to meet like a guy or something? And I think it's a very, I don't know, not serious, but like it's a genuine question.
Well, for me, the answer is always in public. And that's different for some people, which is what I find fascinating. Because some people lean on technology now to meet people. And they say like, oh, where do you meet people online? And then, but for me, I've always been an organic, like, I want to meet somebody, let's say we go to a party at a friend's house. It's like a family reunion or whatever. It's been a long time. You start seeing people that you haven't seen in a long time. And then they have their friends and you meet their people. Those are the kinds of organic relationships that I choose to make. And so I'm always going to suggest out in public. That would be my advice to somebody.
Yeah, so what I did is what any rational person would do looking for help is going online to go on the internet and see what the people had to say. And so I found a couple articles that give like best advice to like just different practices on like where to meet people. So yeah, I wanted to bring one up and see if like any of these like recommendations like call out to you that you think are like good ones. So there's hiking, joining a club. I think a club, like if you're in school or just maybe find like a local club, I think that is a good place to start.
I feel like clubs are what the article says is like a specific thing that you do.
Yeah.
Like a book club, music club, hiking club, like a club to meet new people if you're looking to meet new people with the similar interests in you.
Yeah. And I think finding and understanding what your hobbies are is a big part of that, because that's kind of like the first step if you want to meet people with in a genuine connection that have like similar interests to you. It's important to like pinpoint what it is exactly like you're into as well.
Yeah, you want to know what you're looking for. I mean, as a friend, I know that the people that I have in my close circle, they have similar but dissimilar interests in me.
Right.
And so those all, we have things that we can agree upon and come together and do, like video games, movies. I mean, we're all big into movies. That's like our thing.
Yeah.
We go see new movies when they come out. That's, movies that we're interested in. We do it as the boys most of the time.
Yeah.
And that's like that's a great way, not a great way to meet people, but something that you can do once you've met people. Because it's setting up dates and ideas. Once you meet somebody, unless you're cool with just chilling and meeting every week at the book club. But if you want to genuinely start hanging out with this person, you start setting up ideas.
Yeah. You got to pull out of there.
Yeah, you got to, branch out to get to know people in a different way.
So this one I find interesting where it says join a meetup, and there's a website called Meetup, and you can like scroll through events to browse. I mean, it sounds good. I've never heard of it, but
right,
it's an option.
And this is something I said earlier, talk to your neighbors.
Do you make friends with your neighbors?
I do. If, especially with the apartment complex that Jeremy and I lived in over in Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Then our neighbors were they were a little bit older, I think 28 to like probably 36, but they were still super cool people. The guy that was 2 doors down was a musician. He was a drummer, and him and I exchanged numbers, and he's like, you got to come to the studio sometime and play. I was like, dude, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you make connections that way as well. I'm not looking for that. Yeah, that's the problem. I'm not looking for people to like hang out regularly, but that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for my friends in particular that I went out with, they were like really kind of like stuck on, not that they don't have friends, but they're just looking for like a different experience, because the people, at least one of them in particular, they were so like the people that they hung out with were people that were wanting to go out to like clubs and downtown, and they're like, that's fun and all every now and then, but like, can't we do something different? And so maybe they were thinking that this club crowd is kind of like, that's just what they always want to do, when they might want to like seek a different avenue to like host a new connection.
See, those are the things that you would find by doing those things.
Right.
Most likely alone.
I am a big advocate of doing things alone.
So am I. And I think that that's important even inside of relationships that you have with people. Like when we went to Japan, this is a prime example. We went to Japan. After the end of those 2 weeks, we didn't see each other for almost a month.
Yeah.
Like we took a solid break from kicking it.
And even really from like texting too.
Even talking in general. I mean, we took a hiatus. And then we came back and did something as a unit.
I think it was for your birthday.
Yeah, I think it was for my birthday. That was correct. And it was like no time had passed at all.
Yeah.
So I think those are, being alone and spending time by yourself and learning who you are. That's a big part of meeting somebody else. Like I said, you need to know what you're looking for. A jazz club or a music club, that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. I think volunteering would make for a good one too.
Yeah. And also talking to people that you work with.
Yeah.
If you're trying to meet people and you're in the break room situation, I'm not sure if interrupting someone when they're neck deep in their phone is a good idea.
Yeah.
But I would be, that right there. What was it? Don't be afraid of strangers. What was that one? Don't close yourself off to talking with strangers. That's big. If someone approaches you, you can gauge pretty quickly.
Yeah, if someone has a headphone in, they probably don't want to.
Well, but also if someone comes up to you, right?
Yeah.
Someone approaches you and you're like, they're like cracked out, obviously you're not going to stop and talk to that person. But if someone comes up and they seem like they're a nice person and want to talk, like, why not just say what's up?
Yeah.
What do you got going on in that moment that's so important?
Too busy looking at memes. Yeah, and the last one that they just show is Do More Things Alone. Have you ever gone to the movies by yourself?
No. That's the one thing I feel very uncomfortable doing. Really? I don't know why.
I've heard it's actually very, like...
I kind of want to try it.
Like a good experience to go. Yeah. Like, Sean's done it, and I've just read about it online that, like, going to the movies by yourself is, like, a really, I don't know, like, peaceful experience.
But I'm always, like, I do so much alone now. Like, I'm upstairs in my room, and I watch TV and movies and all that kind of stuff. I do that enough alone that I'm at the point now where I want to talk to people about it. Like, I like going to movies and making small whispered comments to people when I sit next to them.
During the movie?
Yeah.
I like it and I don't. Because sometimes, like, in a crowded theater, I'm like, am I disrupting these other people's experience? So, like,
Well, when I say, I mean, I'm not saying having full-on conversations,
right?
Even whispered conversations. But if there's a moment that you catch in the movie, like, I want to share those moments. Like a quick, like, oh, ha, did you catch that, blah, 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 or whatever.
There's been moments for me where, like, I think this summer I am going to try the movie solo experience and report back to how it goes. But, because there have been movies that I want to watch that I know my friends don't want to watch.
Like what?
I wanted to watch La La Land, and I never did because I didn't have anyone to go see it with. And so I missed out on that movie. I mean, obviously I can watch it now. It's on DVD, but I really wanted to go see that. And so, like, that should have been a moment where I just go in by myself to see it.
I never think about it. Whenever I think of the movies, I always think of a social situation. And then if I don't end up seeing that movie in theaters, with my sound bar now, I mean, it's almost better than the movie theater sometimes. I like going to movie theaters to watch action movies.
Makes sense.
But, like, if I'm going to go watch, like, a comedy, I'll just do that at my house. Or, like, especially, like, a drama or, like, a serious movie.
Yeah.
And thrillers, I almost prefer to watch them at my house because it's the loud noise that makes me jump, not what's actually on the screen. So, like, if I was at my house, I wouldn't normally jump. But if I were to see Stranger Things in a movie theater, I would be jumping left and right.
Yeah, that'd be pretty...
Dude, my dad, he's going to listen to this, and I'm going to laugh. He was watching Stranger Things, and a phone rang, and he, like, jumped, and I was cracking up.
You know, have you... How far did you get into season 3?
I've only seen the first 2 episodes. Please don't spoil it.
No. All I'm going to say is I have a small problem with Stranger Things in that in certain instances it likes to make everything super dark. And not thematically, but visually. Like, it likes to really darken the picture, and it, like, hurts my eyes a lot. You'll see in the season, but, like, they'll just cast a shadow on everything. And it's just like, man, would it kill you to put, like, one light in here to, like... I know you're trying to make it moody and everything, but, like, I am having trouble, like, trying to...
Well, that builds the tension.
It does, but they do it too much.
Yeah, people had a lot of issues with that in the Game of Thrones episode. Did you hear about that backlash?
Yeah, the lighting or something.
Yeah, basically the entire episode was in the dark. The entire episode was in the dark. So they are fighting at nighttime at a castle, and the only thing they have is torchlight and then dragonfire. So, yes, there are moments where things get lit up, but for the most part, it is dark. But they do that on purpose, and so I always look at those as like if it hurts your eyes, that's one thing. But that kind of stuff doesn't hurt my eyes. I just think there's a purpose for it.
Yeah.
And Stranger Things is one of those, especially when you start to go into, like, the upside down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's intended to be dark. It's a visual, like,
cue.
Yeah. It's a signature emotion that they're trying to convey.
I totally get it, and it's definitely, like, a me thing. But I just, like, catch myself, like, when I'm watching it. Like, I definitely enjoy the show when things are, like, well lit and, like, it's just clear to see what they're doing. But, like, when they do this dark casted shadow stuff and just, like, rely on kind of, like, natural lighting, it's just like, man, like, I appreciate the effort, but it's just, like, a little much sometimes. It's definitely a me thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about the second episode. That there's a scene in the second episode towards the end of the episode where it's like full on picture, nice clear lighting, and you're like, dang,
Yeah.
dang, son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Gabby. That's why I'm trying to set up a time that we can watch it. I'm like, we need to binge the rest of the show just in one day so we can get caught up.
It's
like,
really good. I haven't finished it, but like I'm close.
Yeah.
And
no, I mean, I heard it's phenomenal, and the first 2 episodes were great.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna show you a meme that Jeremy sent me now that you've seen season 3.
I think is it the
Did that 70s show one?
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, yeah.
It's accurate.
Yeah. I'll post that in the vid.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's weird to see too, because you watch season 2 and they're still kids, and then season 3 and they're like young adults, and their adulthood in real life starts to show through their characters.
Yeah.
Because they're all, I think, 16, 17 years old
In the show?
in real life,
Oh.
and I don't know if they're that old in the show.
I can't figure out what's the time.
Yeah,
difference.
what was the time jump? They don't, but I think it has to be next year because, well, no, because Steve had been out of high school for 2 years. Steve had graduated by season 2, right?
Yeah, they were seeing.
And so he's out of high school now 2 years. If you're going by, because he talks about going to college.
Well, he's like, oh, I thought I would take a break here to like work
Right.
a job.
Yeah. Get some experience. So you're assuming that it's it's been 2 years. Or, well, it's been 1 year after season 2, which, yeah, Steve has been out of high school for 2 years.
Stranger Things, good show. Go.
Oh, I
watch
love it.
if you
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah, I love it. I agree with you, though, they didn't make that time jump clear.
Well, all they showed was what year it was. So it's like you had to been paying attention to like season 2's year
Yeah, I don't remember.
listed, and like I didn't.
Right.
I even watched the recap, and like I didn't get any distinction there.
I mean, but the one thing with the Starcourt Mall opening and driving all the businesses out,
Yeah.
that's not something that would happen in a year.
Yeah, that takes
some time. I mean, unless I don't know. Anyways, it's funny that you brought Stranger Things up, because did you hear the new backlash with Netflix?
No.
So I caught this video on YouTube the other day, and it was Netflix changes their policy based off of like online backlash or backlash faced by the Truth Company, because they showed an upswing in depictions of smoking cigarettes. So for instance, I think season 2 of Stranger Things featured someone smoking 187 times. And they're like statistically showing that over the course of like since streaming things has become popular over the last several years.
Right.
The upswing in depictions of tobacco use like on screen has like quadrupled or something. That I can't remember the exact statistic. Wow, statistic, but
Words are hard.
yeah, words are hard. But when I heard it, I was like, wow, crazy. But at the same time, it's a private company. Like they don't have to abide by the same laws as broadcast television does.
That's interesting, because in watching Stranger Things, I have not made it a point that like them smoking hasn't like stuck with me. I think the only thing is like I realize that Hopper smokes a lot. But
Well, the problem is you have to look at the time that the show takes place. So regardless of what year it's published, Stranger Things takes place in the 80s. So in the 80s, smoking was popular. Lots of people smoked. And they smoked indoors. Like smoking in restaurants was legal. Or no smoking in restaurants wasn't even a thought. So if you were in the middle of a restaurant, like in season 2, Hopper's in the middle of the restaurant and just lights up a cigarette. Or I think that might be season 3. But anyways.
that is 3.
Yeah. In the middle of a restaurant.
Yeah.
So like that is what is normal. And if you're trying to depict a show in that time frame, like why not be historically accurate?
So what's the like backlash? Is Netflix?
Well, truth is the anti-smoking campaign.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what's happening?
So Netflix changed its policy where they're going to incorporate fewer depictions of smoking now because of the backlash.
It seems weird, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess what are your thoughts on like the idea itself? Like the idea that backlash can cause a company to change its policy.
I mean, the influence makes sense. Like we were talking last week about like the Disney gets backlash for having a certain director.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they make an action out of it. So, I mean, like, I'm not surprised. I just think, like, over smoking, I think it's a little weird.
Right.
I don't really have.
I guess it's a small policy if you think okay, they just depict smoking less because the idea is what demographic are majority watching using streaming services. Yeah. So what age demographic is like 18 to 26 who are mainly using Netflix.
Yeah, and I mean if they decide to cut down on smoking, I mean what are you losing? It's not like you're losing like a narrative plot. Like, if they were to, like, oh, you're showing too many people dying, show less violent stuff. But this is just, like, a subtle context. Like, it's not really...
Well, yes and no. So, have you ever seen the show Sons of Anarchy?
Briefly.
Okay. So, there's, I think, 7 or 8 seasons of the show.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of the show, without any spoilers, certain tragedies happen to certain characters. And in the beginning of the show, they are smoking weed. And this is like a big difference. When they do light up something, they're smoking a joint. And then the occasional like cigarette. And then as the tragedies start to happen, the weed starts to fade away and they start to depict like intentionally the character smoking more cigarettes because his like quality of life and his desire to be alive is like going down, and they depict that using his increase in smoking cigarettes.
But I mean, like, what if they just limited the frames? Like, okay, we're going to have, instead of 30 scenes of smoking cigarettes, we're going to change it to 15. Like, do you lose that much?
Well, I mean, I guess in that sense, depending on how many scenes that person is in the show, which at the time was like a majority of them. And in almost every scene, he had been like light up at some point. And so then you look at, if you were to do that to half, that's a pretty big decrease if you are in majority of the scenes. It makes sense if you're like, oh, I'm in 10 scenes and I'm smoking in 10, they cut it down to 5. That's a big difference between like, oh, I'm in 80 scenes and they're cutting me in 40.
But it's also a big difference just because you know the context already of how many there are. Like, if that show came out and they only just had 5 scenes of smoking, like, you wouldn't know that
right.
It used to be 10.
Right.
So,
but this was also over the course of probably 20 episodes.
Yeah, and that show's kind of old now. So.
Oh yeah, it's also I mean, it stopped airing a long time ago.
So I guess it'll just be interesting to see how like new shows.
Well, I mean, I guess I never really notice how frequently someone smokes.
Yeah.
And smoking, like watching smoking on TV, doesn't bother me. Like, I've never thought about. I guess that's another thing. I've never been influenced by TV to smoke.
Well, that's like the idea behind like product placement in film.
Yeah,
is that you see like into the Spider-Verse, Miles has a pair of Sony headphones. It's also a Sony published movie, so obviously there will be Sony products in there. So it's like, I don't know, like, does seeing Spider-Man have Sony headphones make you want to purchase Sony headphones?
I guess it's different than like cigarettes.
But
I guess I look at it differently because it's cigarettes.
But I think that's the idea behind it, is that like, if you have this character Hopper who's like cool and kind of edgy and he's constantly smoking, someone's gonna be like, oh yeah, I want to smoke. And that's, I think, the truth's
like
kind
point.
Mentality of it.
Yeah,
is like those are the ads they used to fly back then, when like they were like, oh, smoking's so like popular in commercials, and it's like because they make it like look cool and like kind of like not glamorous, but they make it seem like it's like an in thing.
Yeah.
And then you see the behind the scenes thing of like where this go-go dancer is now got like a hole in her neck because she thought it was cool to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, it's one thing I've never really like. I've just never been personally the type of person that's like, oh, I see someone smoking. If I have, because I have smoked, but I've always smoked because of peer pressure.
Yeah.
Like the kids that I used to hang out with back in high school smoked cigarettes.
Yeah.
And so I smoked cigarettes because I was around them. And then once I was smoking cigarettes, if I saw someone smoking a cigarette, then it would make me want to smoke a cigarette. But I think that that's, I don't think that that's like a product placement. I think that's more just my addiction at the time to cigarettes.
You have to remember though, it's like different for everyone's viewing experience.
Well, yeah.
A kid that watches Stranger Things is gonna be like,
oh, then that's cool.
yeah,
Like Billy.
he looks cool. When
He looks cool, man.
When he's smoking cigarettes,
I wish I had his hair.
he has some good hair.
I don't wish I had his hair.
He has
It's
good
a
hair.
wig.
It works for him though.
It's a wig, though. Do you know that? They like glue a wig onto his head. He has like short hair in real life.
Yeah, I mean, all of that hair is like
No,
highly 80s.
Steve's hair is real.
Oh, well, yeah. That's a mop.
That's a mop for sure.
Yeah.
And Dustin's hair is real too.
Yeah. Well, obviously not everyone's hair is fake, but like you can tell which ones are supposed to be like a callback to that time.
Oh, I thought his hair was real.
Really?
Until I saw the behind the Stranger Things thing. Yeah. I thought he had I didn't know that he wore a wig. I thought that he grew his hair like that. And I was like, impressive.
Yeah.
Nice. I couldn't grow my hair like that. My hair doesn't grow like that. It grows outward. It's weird. I couldn't do what you're doing right now.
The bun?
I guess I've never really tried. How long have you been not without a haircut?
A year and some change.
Yeah, that's never, ever, ever happened to me before.
The last time I cut it, I like nearly shaved it, and then I decided to let it grow back. And like I always, as of the past couple years, I was trying to like keep it at a certain length, cut it, restart, that whole bit. But now I'm just kind of like, I kind of want to see where this goes.
Please just don't shave the sides.
No. That's not.
If you're gonna have the man bun, do the man bun, like all the way.
Yeah, I feel like unless you're a specific type of person, you can pull it off. But even then, it's like that's hard.
Yeah, I saw some guy today or yesterday at the gym, and he had blonde hair, completely shaved, and it was like this long, and it was like this little samurai top knot.
Little onion.
It threw me back. I was like, oh my gosh, I used to have that for like a brief stint.
I remember that.
Yeah, I had this stupid man bun, and I was like, no, I'm out.
I get a lot of compliments.
Well, yours looks good. That's what I'm saying. Like, your hair is long enough to where you have an actual bun, and it looks good. You know what Russ looks like, the rapper?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
Nice.
When he pulls it back and, is in a ponytail, it actually looks good. It fits your style, I think, personally. You have a very distinct style.
The hipster.
Well, yeah.
I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but what were your, I think it's time that we enter hypothetical time.
So I have two.
All right, let's hear it.
Subject-wise, video games or food? Where do you want to go?
Food.
Okay.
Because I'm hungry.
So you are to prepare a meal for Chef Gordon Ramsay. If he doesn't like it, you die. What is the meal you make for him? And so, yeah, he has to like it. Just go ahead and think about it for a little bit.
Have you ever seen Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah, like clips of it. Like, what's the one meal you think that you could have like a 90% chance that he's going to like it? Like, what's your knockout meal?
Probably a steak and baked potato. Like,
You think you're going to get the pass?
yeah, maybe. That's a very tall order.
Yeah.
Or I guess a pulled pork sandwich probably. Those would be two. That's a tough one because Gordon Ramsay's incredibly hard to please.
But I mean, like, what if you decided to play it safe with like a PB&J? Like, how upset is he going to be that this PB&J is made a certain way?
Well, I mean, is he judging your food based off of your food, or is he Gordon Ramsay? You're supposed to make something that he likes.
I think just taste-wise, it's supposed to be good.
So if you're like, I'm gonna make for you today a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he's like, okay, this better be the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've ever had, or you die.
Yeah. So are you gonna play it safe with the PB&J, or going to your meal?
I mean, that's a tough one because I can make a mean bowl of cereal. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
if you eat it at the right time, cereal is the best. People who like soggy cereal, get out of my face.
you can only prepare cereal so many times, though, or in so many ways.
Well,
As long as you're not putting milk in first, why? Why would you do that? Why would you ruin your cereal like that?
yeah, it's blasphemy, dude.
None of that.
No. I don't know, man. I guess I never really thought about it that way. Because, like, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, unless you like
I have a special way. I do more jelly and less peanut butter, but I also get the crunchy peanut butter that makes up for it, and I still layer the peanut butter on thick.
You're a crunchy guy?
I'm like a 2-to-1 crunchy.
Wow. They do creamy.
Really?
Yeah. I don't do chunky though.
I like a little texture. The nuts are nice.
Is there a difference between chunky and crunchy?
I don't think so.
So why are there different labels?
Because it's branding.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I will do the nut. I will do creamy.
Yeah.
What
What kind of peanut butter do you like?
Jifs. Just keep it.
Have you ever
OG.
had Adams?
No.
It's really good. It's like pure peanut butter. It's got oil on top and everything. You got to mix it up.
I've seen stuff like that.
It's delicious.
Do you do toasted PB&J?
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
What about bagels? Are you a peanut butter and jelly bagel kind of guy?
I've never had it.
Put some jelly on a toasted bagel, son?
Let me ask you. When you do a toasted PB&J, are you making your toast first, then apply, or you apply the stuff first and then put it in the toaster?
Well, I would never make a peanut butter jelly sandwich and then put it in a toaster.
Well, not...
If I had a toaster oven...
That's what I mean.
That's how I would do it. I would make the peanut butter jelly sandwich and then put it in the toaster oven. But I don't have a toaster oven.
You're a man of culture.
For me, I would toast both sides to like a light brown confection. Just warm enough that it's still like somewhat soft but has a little bit of crunch. But it's warm enough that it'll melt the peanut butter down a little bit and the jelly down a little bit and make them a little bit more pliable.
Sounds good. Is this
I
Gordon
need to get
Ramsay approved?
I think that, yeah, if I could, yeah. If I had like a Gordon Ramsay kitchen, he was like, make me a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I will make you the best darn peanut butter and jelly sandwich you've ever had.
So that's your answer?
Well, no. I would want to be fun. I don't know. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, that's lame. At least let me try and make you a steak and baked potato, because I feel like I can make a pretty good steak.
Yeah.
You know, baked potato, nice and fluffy, garnish on top. I'd kill it.
There's just that chance he's going to be like, Austin, what is this?
Well, and if that's the case, then hold on. Lord, I'm coming. I don't know, man. That's a weird one.
Yeah. It's out on Reddit.
So you would go peanut butter?
No.
How many times have I said peanut butter and jelly sandwich? A lot.
Probably like 20.
What would you make?
A burrito.
What kind of burrito? Describe its contents in detail.
So
hungry.
Rice, beans, queso fresco, choice of chicken or steak. And if you want to get wild, you can put some salsa or guac. Up to you. I don't do those, but I know other people like it. And that's it. My burritos are nice.
Okay. How do you make your steak?
Well, my dad normally prepares the steak. Chicken, it would be like...
So you're the vessel. You're not even making the food.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort. But what if your dad's not there when Gordon Ramsay comes to you?
I mean, I could just make a straight bean, cheese, and rice burrito, and he'll probably like that too.
You think so?
I think so. Dude, my burritos are nice. I've had people over, and they'll see me making it, like, make me one too. And they're like, man, that was really good. I'm like, I know. Who do you think is making
Who do you
them?
think? Yeah. Where do you think these hands come from?
Yeah. I can also fold burritos really well too.
Yeah, so can I. Chipotle taught me that.
My mom taught me that.
Well,
She also used to work at Taco Bell, so.
oh yeah, my dad used to work at Taco Bell. I think they fold burritos somewhat similar.
Yeah, where it's like you scoot one to one side, tuck in the sides, and then roll.
I gotta visualize this. Hold on. Over top, pull it to the back, tuck in both sides, roll forward.
It's not too many steps. You have flat tortilla,
Right.
and then so on one side, it's like one side has more than
Right.
the other. Then you fold the sides in and then roll.
I've always been a claw and grab. So you take the bottom of the burrito, grab everything up in a claw, pull it all back, and then fold in the sides, and then roll it as tight as you can. That's how you get the torpedo burrito effect from Chipotle. That's how I would prefer to, because I always pack burritos more than they should be. My biggest problem is like bursting burritos, because when I'm making my own burrito, I'm always like, yeah, this looks like enough food. And then I go to roll it and it doesn't even roll. So then I have to resort to eating it like a taco.
I find
Neanderthal.
I find doing it with just enough ingredients.
Right.
Which I think is why my burritos
I think that's important.
are special.
Yeah.
They got the signature.
They got the they got the signature sauce with no sauce.
Welcome to this podcast where you're learning how to fold burritos.
Yeah, we just did a diagram to voices. I hope someone's not listening to this like, man, I was really hoping to learn how to roll a burrito.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, so my answer is burrito.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a burrito is a good choice. I know how to cook a lot of things. I can make a mean chicken parmesan.
Really?
Yeah.
Make me one.
Okay.
Sometime.
Sure.
You know.
You can come over, I'll make you one.
All right.
Noodles and chicken parmesan and everything. Yeah, it's the nines.
I like that.
I do chicken Alfredo as well. Like breaded chicken Alfredo.
Mm.
Yeah. Bread the chicken with a little garlic and Alfredo or panko. And then you fry it. And then make some noodles and Alfredo sauce. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
I feel like I've never really had Alfredo.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, we need to go to Olive Garden like tomorrow. Oh, you work until 11.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
It's just what duty calls you.
What time do you go to work?
3:30.
Dude, we should get lunch. We should hit Olive Garden for lunch.
That's a lot of food for like.
No, dude. Soup, salad, and breadsticks. Half a thing of pasta. You get soup, salad, or breadsticks. Or soup or salad and then breadsticks. And then like a half portion of pasta. It's the perfect amount of food. Their lunch at Olive Garden is sick.
I'll think about it.
Think about it. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
I'm down. I'm all the way down.
I haven't been there in a while, so
I've been craving pasta lately, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Tomorrow's cheat day anyway, so not really. Every day's cheat day. What was your other hypothetical about video games? Hit me with it.
So, if you were to enter a video game for 1 hour, and whatever you could get done within that 1 hour, you got to keep, what game would you go into? This is also provided by Reddit. So thanks, Reddit.
Well, I could go into GTA and apply some cheat codes with my cell phone, get a lot of money in an hour.
This is a different answer than I was expecting.
Yeah. So, like, when you say get things done,
you have like a 1 hour to do
something, like play the game basically, but inside a real,
Yeah, and then whatever you do in that 1 hour, you can keep. Like, what can you acquire? What would be the thing you're acquiring with that 1 hour?
Yeah, my first thought would be to go to GTA, enter in some cheat codes, bank up, a couple $100,000, maybe $1 million. If I had an hour to do so. Yeah. Because, I mean, what other what other thing would you be hoping to gain?
Well, in a game like that, I mean, a car.
You just hijack a car, like.
But I mean, like, it's specifically pertaining to that game.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying. So what would you think? Like, what game would you want to go into?
Easy answer. Forza. Mainly because I'm not a car guy. And, like, what do you do in Forza? You make money, race for cars. Let's say I got, like, a sick car. I could sell it. After, like, I'm done, I pull out some, I don't know, I'm not good with car names, but some fancy car. I could sell that. I was like, I don't need that. And then I have money.
Or, because in an hour, theoretically, you could make a good amount of money, buy a few cars, and then make sure that you end up leaving with a really expensive car.
I guess the way I'm seeing it is that it's like one tangible object.
Okay.
Like, you go into Halo, you get a legendary sword, and,
That's like your prize.
Right. Another answer I thought would be good was Pokemon.
Really?
Yeah, you get like a Pokemon and you bring it to the real world. Why not?
What would you do with it?
I don't know. You have your little. What do you do with dogs? They're your companion.
I wouldn't consider what Pokemon would you want to get?
Like Pikachu.
That'd be kind of cool. I would want Squirtle.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool little pet. Or even like a baby Charizard.
Well, Charizards aren't babies. They're fully grown. Unless you mean Charmander.
Well,
which is the small evolution.
Yeah, but I like the Charizard. Like, I just would like a little version of Charizard.
Well, they don't come in little.
I know.
Those are big boys.
Fine, Charmander. Whatever.
So, yeah, I would say Forza.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're looking at it from like a one... Because when you say you have an hour to acquire as much as you can.
Acquire to get like that thing done.
Right. So that would need to be specified, because I just immediately assumed, like, what game could I go into and acquire the most? The games I thought of were GTA, Minecraft, and
Minecraft.
well, because I mean, if you're talking about how much could I acquire in an hour, you go and mine in Minecraft for an hour, you come out with whatever you gain in Minecraft, right? Iron ore, wood, whatever you know what I mean. So like those are all if you were looking at like counting how much I need to come out with,
Yeah.
Those were the things I thought of, but I'm not interested in wood, iron, ore, and all that crap. I've never played Minecraft, so I don't know. But so I would immediately think, oh well, I'm going to go into GTA, get money, come out with money.
That's fair.
It's weird. This is touching on what I said earlier. People are so different. Like the way that we interpret that question. That's what I love about hypothetical time. It's the way that we interpret these questions. Like if I frame a question to you, you interpret it completely different than the way that I do.
Yeah. Because I thought you were, I don't know what you would have said, but like you going into GTA was not what I was thinking. Because I thought of like, oh, easy. Forza. Get a car, sell it, call it a day. Or keep it, whatever. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not a car guy, so, either way, I get a cool car, I'm cashing out.
Right. And I guess it, depends on your motives when you come back here. Because if I'm like, hey, I want to go into a video game for an hour and get an experience, I would want to go into a game like, GAO or...
You would want to go there?
I mean, if it's a video game, right?
I mean, I guess...
I would want a unique experience.
I don't know.
So,
I feel like if I went to Gears of War, I'm getting PTSD.
Well, that's very well true.
Like, you're fighting, like, humanoid monsters.
Yeah.
That, like...
But it's for an hour. So, I mean, how bad could it really get in an hour?
I mean, you saw that Black Mirror with the video game.
Well, that was different.
I don't know. How long was he in there for? Like 10 minutes?
No. He put it on, they zapped it, and he died.
But didn't they say, like, how long that experience was for him?
I think they said that the experience for him in real time was like that.
I thought it was a couple minutes.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was quicker than that.
But yeah.
But it was like hours for him in the actual house. But it like kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and I don't want that.
Right.
I wouldn't want that. That's awful. My worst fears, like...
But you're saying, though, like, oh, what could happen in an hour?
Well, but we're going off the basis that an hour in video game time is an hour in real life. If you go into, like, Dead Rising, an hour in, real life was, I think, 10 hours in the mall. So, I'm good. I don't want that. Jumanji, kind of similar. He was in the game for 6 months, and he'd been gone for 25 years.
You're referring to the new one?
Yeah.
I never watched it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been meaning to, and I've heard
really good.
but
it's funny. Kevin Hart and The Rock are hilarious.
I'm bad with keeping up.
You're bad with things.
Yeah, I'm bad in general.
Yeah, it's okay. I forgive you.
I'm bad at replying back to people.
Yeah.
Keeping up with shows.
That's an intriguing one to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't your interest get piqued?
For
just in general. You watch a show, right? You watch a few episodes of the show.
Hmm.
Doesn't your interest in the rest of the show make you want to watch it more?
Yes and no, but I get distracted. Like for Stranger Things, just because of that show, like I love 80s stuff. So I'm in. Like I'm all the way in. And I'm like on episode 7. I think there's only 8 according to what somebody told me. So like I'm there. And that's a show I don't mind like watching a couple episodes at a time. It's just, when you tell me to watch some show that's like 60 plus episodes, I'm like, I have a problem with that. Especially if it's not something that isn't immediately called to me.
Well, okay, yeah. I also look at Stranger Things are, an hour long episodes.
But it's good.
Most of the time. So I wouldn't be able to watch more than 3 or 4 because I usually don't devote 5 hours to just watching a show.
That's why I said a couple.
Right.
1 or 2.
Right. So that to me is different than watching. You could watch 8 episodes of The Office in 2 hours.
No.
So that's what I mean. Like, the way that I look at, I guess, viewing in general, you would say no automatically based off of the sheer amount, but you could realistically watch the first 3 seasons in a matter of a day.
That's a lot. Like I said, it's the content that like draws me. 80s.
Well, right. If there was a show,
sci-fi stuff, I'm there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Dry humor, office.
But what?
stuff.
So you start things. Like there are certain animes that you've started and haven't finished yet.
Yeah.
So that's more along the lines of what I'm talking about. Like Stranger Things, yes, that's one example. I always watch Stranger Things all the way through. But for instance, there's a show called Ozark, and I watched season 1, and it was super good. I have no qualms. Loved every episode of the show. Season 2 is out. I just haven't brought myself to watch it. So like, I just am curious as to
my thought process.
My thought process as well. I'm in the same boat. I don't finish things too. My parents and I were just talking about that at dinner tonight. I get bored.
I try not to start too many things.
I think that could be my problem.
Like I try to keep at least like 4 things on the docket of like what I'm like trying to balance out. And if, like I said, Stranger Things or something else that I'm like fully into, that's the one I'll tackle first. And then your thing of like, you saw season 1 of something, season 2 exists. For me, I'm kind of that way, but like there's One Punch Man, season 2 came out and it was like airing weekly. My thought was, I love season 1. I'll watch it when all of it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that it's all out, I've been watching that.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, Attack on Titan season 3 is out. I haven't seen a single episode, or the second part of season 3 rather. I haven't seen any of that.
It's finished.
It's finished, and I could go back and watch all of it. I just haven't. I think
you got to have that call, though.
Well, to me, I think a lot of it is I don't want it to be over. Because when I find a show that I love, like when I started watching Gotham, I destroyed that show. I mean, we're talking 4 seasons, 22 episodes, 45 minutes an episode. And I killed it. Binged most of it in like maybe a month. Which is a lot. I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot of show.
That's a lot of show to watch. I would watch maybe 3 episodes a night.
It's like Tony Stark said in Endgame. Part of the journey is the end.
But then,
so you gotta see it through.
But then, that's my thing. I get to like season 4, and it's so good, and I want to keep watching it. But I couldn't. Like I knew that I couldn't find season 5 anywhere.
Yeah. Because
season 5 is airing now, so unless I have cable, I can't go back and watch it until it's all out. And I was like getting to the end, and I had like maybe 10 episodes left, and I like took a hiatus for a sec. I like didn't watch it for a couple weeks.
You didn't want it to be
I didn't want it to be over.
So since we're on the subject of Netflix, how do you feel about The Office and Friends going away?
Wait, The Office and Friends are both going away?
Yeah, I sent you both of those things.
I thought it was just The Office. I didn't see Friends.
No, Friends is going
away. Oh, okay. I mean, my thing is it sucks because those shows are great.
Yeah.
And they're definitely shows that I get into the mood to want to watch and want to just be able to pull up an episode. So that's going to be a bummer that they're gone.
Yeah.
But then it's just more of an excuse to just buy the DVD, like the Blu-rays, find it and have a collect. Because I miss having like a collection of movies and DVDs You
games. Say that until you get to the point where I'm at, and it's like, man, there's a lot of space.
Well, I mean, you just use your space effectively. Right. When was the last time you bought furniture?
When I bought my bed, like 2017.
Right. So. But you haven't bought like, a handy storage area. Like Gabby's family has so many movies. They have stacks and stacks and stacks of movies. My grandparents have a ton of movies, and my grandmother is crazy and has an itemized, like a book that is numbered with every title,
it's like a
sorted by genre. And then she has it in her cabinet. And the cabinet doors fold out, and like a certain section's action, certain section's comedy, and a certain section is this. So, I mean, you could get crazy with your movie.
That's dedication.
I think so.
I respect that.
I mean, if it's something that you collect, right?
Yeah.
Why not put some stock into it? And I miss because the problem with streaming services,
you don't actually own it.
You don't actually own it, number one.
You just pay for the right to watch it.
But number two, if it goes away, it goes away. Where else am I going to watch The Office now if I don't buy it?
So that's the thing is like both The Office and Friends are going into their own respective streaming services.
Which are what?
Office is going to NBC, right? That's who did it.
Mm-hmm.
So NBC is starting a streaming service.
Of course they are.
And then there's something called HBO Max, which is where the Friends is going. So another thing is like, you know, part of the reason to go into streaming was to get rid of cable because it was adding up. But like, if you opt into 5 different streaming services, what's really the difference between you and paying Comcast monthly? That amount.
Well, that's I think the idea behind it is that people would rather pay for the streaming services than pay for cable now.
I guess in that regard, they know what they're getting.
Yeah. But my problem is I don't want to have to subscribe to 5 different streaming services.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Like, I don't want to have to, like, okay, NBC, the only show I like are Brooklyn Nine-Nine or I guess Brooklyn Nine-Nine's on Fox. I mean, I guess The Office. I can't think of a show that's on NBC right now that I like. I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV, like, me personally, followed something that's on TV on a channel in years.
Yeah.
I've been on Netflix and Hulu for a long time because it's just better.
More bang for your buck.
It's more bang for your buck. Unlimited watching of anything, skipping, no commercials. I mean, that's a real big kicker. No commercials. I hate commercials. I pay for YouTube Red, and I have for over 2 years.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I hate commercials, dude.
I don't mind them. They're just...
Yeah, they bug me. If I'm listening to something, or if I want to watch a video, I don't want to have to sit through an ad first. I like the ability to just be able to pull it up and watch the video. And I will pay money extra to do it.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I think we're at a good place to stop.
Fair enough.
Next week, we will have our Japan exclusive episode where we will have 2 guests on for the first time, and it's going to be all about Japan. This is going to be kind of weird, but I hope that this episode is kind of like the last time we talk about Japan, just because it's like, I don't know. It's weird because it's like, I don't want to keep going back to Japan. And like, so I just really want to like really be a deep dive from everyone's perspective. Yeah, we said it at the same time. Nice. Yeah, so that'll be next week.
Okay.
So
I like it.
Stay tuned.
Well, what do you mean by... I guess I know what you mean by the last time. Because like, it's nice to have the vacation, have the experience, and then to put it away.
Yes.
Draw on it if you need to, but come on now. We don't need to talk about it every time we hang out.
Right.
Which is what we did for the first month of us being back.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Right.
I just want to like have those memories in my head.
I was thinking about the food today, man.
Yeah.
I wanted ramen so bad to go back to that one spot in that hipster neighborhood.
So, next week.
All right.
All about Japan.
Let's do it.
All right, man.
All right, man. Cheers.
Cheers.